It's the rainbow issue that's clouded Malcolm Turnbull since he was installed as Prime Minister.
Well, there's never been a more exciting time to be at Mardi Gras.
It's a constant irritant to the government's determination to focus on jobs and growth. Yet this man's job is suddenly imperilled by it. Same-sex marriage, resolved in much of the Western world, is in painful political replay.
It's the politics.
In Australia, the record is stuck.
We made a commitment to give every Australian a say on this issue, and that is our policy. It has not changed.
But it's exactly because the Coalition's policy has not changed that Malcolm Turnbull finds himself facing trouble.
After all, the plebiscite policy, which we took to the last election, was all about trying to resolve this matter, not having a stalemate.
I obviously have a personal conflict which has torments, frankly, and challenges me on a daily basis. And I'd like to see this issue resolved.
The idea of having a plebiscite on same-sex marriage was Malcolm Turnbull's unfortunate inheritance. Unfortunate because it was more of a delaying tactic devised by his predecessor than a well-conceived plan. Unfortunate too because it has always run counter to Mr Turnbull's preference for Parliament to resolve the matter.
I am certainly willing to put my hand up and add my voice to those who are trying to find a way forwards.
Trevor Evans is the latest Liberal MP to signal support for colleague Dean Smith's private member's bill to legalise gay marriage. Mr Evans joins Warren Ench, Tim Wilson and Trent Zimmerman in supporting Senator Smith's bill. Time's pressing because Mr Ench, a former crocodile hunter, is soon New York bound for a 3-month spell in the United Nations. If those 4 Liberals hold, there would be enough support in the lower house to bring on a debate about legalising gay marriage. But that's a big if, because all 4 MPs are under intense pressure. LNP Senator Barry O'Sullivan, for example, ludicrously said it bordered on treacherous for Coalition MPs to push for a parliamentary vote this year. But Coalition MPs with less strident views worry that if the vote gets up, the Prime Minister would be wounded. In any case, Malcolm Turnbull has lost control.
The only reason every Australian has not been given the opportunity to vote on this is because of Bill Shorten's opposition. The plebiscite would have been held long ago by now had it not been for Labor's totally political opposition. They have no interest in marriage equality or same-sex marriage at all. Their only interest is in the politics.
Right now, the only thing stopping Australia from having marriage equality is the fact that the Prime Minister has been unwilling and unable to show the leadership needed to allow a free vote to happen on the floor of Parliament.
I'll defend to my death the right of all my colleagues to cross the floor, but I would remind them that if they do so on this issue, they are in breach of a fundamental election commitment that they were elected on little less than 12 months ago.
Craig Kelly is not alone in urging fellow Liberals to resist a parliamentary vote.
And, you know, I'd say to people that have passions about it, that if you have a strong passion about it, that's fine. But the Labor Party and the Greens are the ones that are blocking the Australian people having their say.
The Senate rejected the plebiscite in November, and according to one Liberal at least, that extinguished the obligation.
I was elected to honour and to fulfil a plebiscite position. I did. I discharged the responsibility on that.
Not so, says his Liberal colleague.
A postal plebiscite is another way of giving effect to the government's election commitment that will let the Australian people have their say. It's building a bit of momentum.
I think the postal vote should be the very last option, but I don't think we are there yet. I think our first obligation is to go back and ask those senators why are they defying the will of the Australian people.
But the idea of a postal plebiscite as a fallback position has already won support from senior Liberals, including leading Conservative Peter Dutton.
There's no doubt in my mind that a postal plebiscite delivers the same policy intent as a plebiscite proper, and the plebiscite proper can't get through the Senate. The Greens, the Labor Party, Nick Xenophon won't support it, so we're left with that reality.
Even so, one pro-gay marriage Liberal says this comment by former Prime Minister Tony Abbott, made on the night he devised the plebiscite policy 2 years ago, gave Coalition MPs a conscience vote.
I've come to the view, I believe this is the party room view, that this is the last term in which the Coalition party room can be bound.
Liberal opposition to gay marriage may be out of step with broader society, but it's one of the few binding features of the Liberal Party membership, dominated as it is by the over 60s. There are dark murmurings about Malcolm Turnbull's leadership, and it begins in this Conservative base. I'm told even Tony Abbott privately concedes that the fight against same-sex marriage will be lost sooner or later. But that's no solace for the PM, who's trapped between a policy he can't land and an outcome his leadership might not withstand. Malcolm Turnbull's only comfort is that senior Conservatives, including Peter Dutton and Matthias Cormann, also want this resolved somehow.
I don't believe personally that you'll see a parliamentary vote until the coalition's had a chance to put a vote to the public.
If he's wrong, the next fortnight might be among the most dramatic in the life of the Turnbull government.